Great. Okay, so let's get going. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. And the first thing I wanted to start off with is, what is the main challenge of material management? And that is, of course, finding the correct equipment for the correct job. Now, searching for new equipment from a manufacturer, for instance, can be a difficult task. But then what if you were to buy new equipment from an operator, a fellow operator? Now, you might be wondering, how would I go about? How would I even get in contact with the other operator? And of course, as we know, that virtual inventory is the place where you can get in contact with them. But then how would you be able to search for the equipment that you need? So virtual inventory is quite user-friendly as it is. But of course, we can all search more efficiently to not only find the equipment faster, but also to find the correct equipment at all. And if we can remove some headaches, perhaps it's easier to go into search mode at a later stage. So the main scope of this presentation and why you are here, why you should be following us today, is to become more efficient, so that you can become more efficient in searching for inventory in your everyday work. So the other part of this webinar is to create requests. So after you've searched efficiently to find that one valve that you need for your next project, how would you go about creating the request to actually buy the equipment from another user? So Vasilina, as I will be introducing shortly, she will give us a very hands-on experience today, logging into virtualinventory.no and showing you all the ins and outs on how you go about searching in virtual inventory. We've time-boxed this presentation to be 40 minutes. That will allow us for a couple of minutes at the end for some Q&A. So please feel free to find the chat, as you will find on the right-hand side in the console, and ask any questions that you might have regarding what we're talking about here in this webinar, or anything else really that you are wondering about virtual inventory, because we will stay as long as you have questions. So feel free to use us if you would like. So with me today, I have Vasilina from Tieto. She knows all the ins and outs of virtual inventory regarding searching and the buying and the technical features. And my name is Lars Ole Fjørtoft. I've met some of you already. I've been talking with a couple of the operators and hosting some webinars earlier. And hopefully you will hear more from me in the months to come, when we will host more webinars like this. With me also, or with us, we have Katarina Panchenko and Marius Thorse, and they are readily available to answer any questions that you might have regarding virtual inventory. So, as I've already mentioned, the agenda, the scope, we want you to get more acquainted with VI, learn some tips and tricks on searching and creating requests. So without further ado, allow me to introduce Vasilina. And there you go, Vasilina. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Lars, and hello, everyone. So today we are going to show you how we can efficiently search within our virtual inventory application. So you can see my screen, yes? And
yes, we can see your screen, Vasilina. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so now you can see the home page of the virtual inventory application as it is. And on the top of this home page, you're able to see different tabs, different buttons, and so on. And the access of user to these different tabs is based on different roles and permission which exist within virtual inventory system. and different roles and different permissions can be granted to you as a user by our system administrator or organization administrator or of your company. So the next part of the page is related to the search and to news blocks. News blocks, it's just an information about the news that occur in something news occurred in operator's side or from the virtual inventory side. But the main attention we should page for our search field, and we can see that this search field is divided to two section, and it's material search and general search. So what is the main difference between this type of search? Material search is a search by material number, internal material number, and general search is much more wider search, and this is a search everywhere except material number. So today we will more talk about the general search because it's much more wider. And another information I should emphasize on is that now I'm showing you this presentation on our test environment. So the information may be not the last actual, but still it's works the same as our production environment. Okay, so I'm logged in with user, for example, from Equinor company, and now this user have granted a buyer and critical material handler role, and that means that this user can search for any item and as well can request this item. Okay, so let's assume that we search for some valve ball item. With type our search request and select search. After that, the system redirects us to inventory search tab, where is the extended view of our search functionality. As you may see, there are a lot of search results related to our search term, almost 10,000 results, and it's not so easy for user to search really the items that he or she needs. That's why here our helping hand is our filters, which is located on the left side of the page, and we can just expand this filter and see the different filters which we can use in order to narrow down our search result and find out needed item. So here is the filter by manufacturer, by seller, by location, by class, attributes, UNSPC-SC category, and the ability to 3D print this item. So the user can expand each of the filter and can see the list of possible variants to select from manufacturer as well as from seller and the next. Near all the value, you can see the amount of items with this value. So this value means that we have more than 8,000 items among our search result, which relates to Equinor. Like the owner of this item will be Equinor. And the same logic is for location, for classes and attributes with these numbers. Okay, let's assume that the seller for our item should be exactly a GRBP. we select this tick this checkbox, and we can see that our search result is narrowed down to almost 2000. And also we can see that we filtered our search result with seller and with precise value AKRPP. Of course, we can select one more seller, for example, or 1, 2, 3, and how many we need. So, and we can see, we will see the search results for these both selected values. Yeah, you can see that there is a search result increased. The number of search results increased. Okay, after that, for example, we decided that we need the precise UNSPC SC category for our item. We click in this field and we can see the list of UNSPC categories, which have the form of tree, and that means that here by default you can see the first level of our UNSPC categories, and we can expand every category and go deeper and see the second, third, and fourth level on UNSPC categories. Also, we have here the own count with the number and children count with the number. What does it mean? The own count means here in our case, for example, here is 0. It means that for this, like the top category, 15 and 000, we can know like items in our search result. But children, we have 2. And children means that if we expand this category, we can see the second level of categories, and now we can see another like child category where the own count is 2, and that means that for this category within our search result we can find out the 2 items with this category. Also, here is possible to search. For example, we know which UNSPC category our item should be from. And for example, we are going to select, let's select this one, oval precise. Also, we can see here that we selected UNSPC category, as well as we can see the tags here. For every filter, this tags works. Okay, so we can see our search result filtered with UNSPC category and seller. Let's assume that it's not enough for us, more than 300 search result, and we need more specific search. And we have an attributes. An attributes is and attributes contain the information, the precise information about our items. It contains the information about different sizes, for example, pressures, different models, some kind of connections, some material from which our item should be produced, and so on and so on. So this filter is very useful because it can very narrow down our search result very well, and I will show you. For example, we know that our ball should be produced for example, carbon. Let's type material, and we see, for example, that we have stainless steel, or we have body material, some ball material, some number, or other kind of bonnet material. So we search for a name of group, and within group we can see different values. Let's type that we would like body material, precisely body material, and For example, yeah, we can see that we have the carbon steel wolf ball. We select it, and we can see that our search result is very, very narrowed down to 13 search result. And here you can see the options, and option and or options. It means that if we select and option, we can select, for example, some other values, and we can see that the item with carbon steel and with this body material, we have no such item. Okay, and if we select, for example, or principle, we would like to, for example, to search for wolf ball from carbon steel, or maybe it can be stainless steel also. So we select or principle, and we select this stainless steel. And yeah, we can see that our search result is extended to 24 because we selected both these parameters, and we can see that there is more items. Okay, let's assume that from filters it's enough to us, and now we would like to check this information about this item that we have filtered. So we can expand the item, and here basically the information is the same as here on the top level. And there is the material number, the description, manufacturer part number, who is the manufacturer, who is the owner, where the item is located, what is the quantity of needed item, and if it's possible to create this item using 3D print technology. And also here is a compare feature, but I will explain you a bit later about this feature. What is more is that here we can add our item to cart, and then from cart request this item from our owner. Also, here you can see additional see full overview option, and also we can type on this line about the item, and we will see some extended information about the item. Here is the same, the material information about material number, manufacturer number, about who is manufacturer, where the item is located, the quantity, as well as who is the owner of the item. And also additionally here we can see the UNSPC category of this item, the material category, which is the class to which the item relates to, and also what is very important here, we can see the tag number of our item. A tag number is a unique number based on which we enrich our inventory items within the virtual inventory with these attributes I have shown you. And we extend our items using data from EQHub. EQHub is one central technical information repository for standard equipment in accordance with industry standards. So we see here also see full overview option, and we can just select this option, and we will be redirected to the another view. And here you can see three separate tabs. First one is overview, and it's pretty the same as on previous stage. And the most important is the information about the attributes. So here in this section, you can check the information about the attributes of the selected item. You can see highlighted carbon steel because this value we have previously selected on our filter panel. That's why it's highlighted here. Here, as I already told you, here is the information about some sizes, some models, pressure classes, and so on and so forth. And the last section is 3D print. And in this section is indicated this item is not 3D printable, so we cannot produce this item using 3D print technology. But if the item is 3D printable, here will be the information about the contact person to whom you should contact in order to go on with the discussion, the procedure about how to 3D print this item. Okay, we checked the information and came back to our search result. Let's assume that the user checked one more and more item, checked the information, and then would like to compare the information about the item in order to easily decide which item he or she would like to request. And here we can see the compare option. There are checkboxes, and we can check checkbox. It works when we select at least 2, and it's logically because we need to compare. We can select more and more items and just compare them. When we select compare, we are redirected to the same window attribute information, but it already contains the information about the all items we have selected, and we can highlight the difference here. We can see what is different between these items. For example, the closure member trunnion is the same, but here is, you can see difference and it's highlighted. And we can also do not highlight. And also, if you would like to check the information about these attributes in AccuHub, you can just click on this tag number and you will be redirected to the AccuHub, where is the search already performed by this tag number, and you can just check the information from overview and as well as from properties in here in AccuHub and compare if everything is the same in virtual inventory. Okay, so that's all about comparison. And then, for example, the user made a decision and would like to request this item. He expand search result, type to cart 1 because there is only one item available, and select add to cart option and move to our basket. Here there is full information about the item, and also here we should fill in the information about the criticality and the license asset installation. This is the place where we would like to receive our item. We select it, and here is the different type of criticality. So this first 2 is critical material request. It relates to critical material request because this criticality means that the buyer will have some losses if will not receive this item in time. What there is the other not urgent criticality, and for example we select general request and just request the material. We see that system shows us like some kind of notification that the request has been sent successfully to AccuBP. And I have already logged in with user from AccuBP, which have a seller role. That's why he received this notification that he has a new request from Equinor, and he select see details, and he is redirected to this request. And our buyer receives the information about this request that user from AccuBP received this request, and the status of request has changed to received. We can see it here. Okay, so that seller can decline this request or can protest. Let's protest this request. here is 3 options. We can select one of them. Let's select that we can see and release this item and select process request. So in this time, our buyer receives a notification that the request has been accepted by seller AKRBP. And he, for example, would like to see this request. He can see the status is in progress. And on this stage, our buyer can cancel this request if needed. But if not, he can wait for approval from the seller. On this stage, seller can also decline the request, or he, for example, search the item and can complete it. He is sure that he has this item and can complete the request. So he select complete, leave a comment if needed, but it's optional, and complete the request. So now the request is completed from the seller side, and seller cannot cancel request on this stage, and the request status is partly completed. Buyer also received the notification that the request has been completed and see the change of request status, and on this stage buyer have a right to cancel the request or he can complete it. For example, let's assume that we complete this request. We can type some reference text, for example, test. Also, what is important here is we can specify the amount of solvings we have from this request, like what is our solvings, sorry. Okay, and we complete the request. And that's all. The request is completed totally, and now it cannot be cancelled nor from seller side, either from buyer side. And what is more, here in the right side, we can see the chat, where all the information about who received the request, when received the request, who accept it, who complete it is present. And also, till the time when the request is completed, the buyer and seller can type any messages to this chat. But now, as the request is completed, it's impossible to type any messages in this chat. And also, we can message some messages using this functionality, which is present here. And what is more I need to say is that in virtual inventory, there are 3 types of request. It's regular request, that one that we did. Also, we have critical material request and general request. And the main difference between a regular and critical request is that critical request is with the highest criticality because of loss. The flow is mainly the same, and after our webinar, Lars Sule will provide you with additional information about how to do this critical material request step by step, but there is no a big difference in this request. And general request, it's a request when we can select more than one recipient. For example, on this stage, we selected as a recipient AKRBP, but when we do a general request, we can select it more than one operator as seller. So maybe AKRBP will have this item, or maybe Var Energy or some other seller will have this item available. And basically, regarding our search functionality and creation of request is everything.
Yes. Thank you so much, Vasilina, for a great presentation. Let's get this back to my screen. Bear with me for a second. There we go. Yeah, so once again, thank you, Vasilina, a great presentation. And I hope that you learned something new with regards to searching more efficiently, and it was very good to see it from both sides, both the seller and the buyer. So that was a good view from you, Vasilina. Thank you. So as always, these are our contributors, and we'd just like to say a few words on the virtual inventory community, where we hold presentations like this, webinars for virtual inventory, and the other collaborate applications. So it's a great way to meet other material managers, and we'll have also in-person meetings later on this spring, and we'll also schedule more webinars like this. So for the last slide, the last part of the agenda is the Q&A, and we have received one question. So I would like if you could unmute yourself, Marius. Let's see. We have a question that is, what happens after you have submitted a buy request in the system?
Okay, so after you have submitted a buy request or any request in the system, basically, of course, the counterpart is notified of the existence of said request, and the dialogue then is between the two operators due to basically the complexity of these dialogues and the vast amount of different scenarios that we can encounter. So today we encourage open dialogue either through the platform itself or directly between the operators to kind of sort out the technicalities and the details of the trade or the request. And basically then when the request is completed and the buyer has received what he was intending to buy, we then of course want everyone to go back into virtual inventory and finish the request so that the system is updated and the information that we have is up to date. This process is also supported by us in the administration and management team. We kind of help you to facilitate this dialogue if needed. We also help you remind the sellers and the participants in the request to take part and remember that it's there. So it's kind of also an active role from our side. Yeah, I hope that's a sufficient answer.
Yes, I'm sure it is. Thank you, Marius. So if there are no other further questions, we thank you very much for joining us, and stay tuned for further webinars from us. So once again, thank you so much from Vasilina, Marius, Katarina, and myself. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.